The call comes in. A small, persistent light blinks on the headset, a digital pulse demanding attention. The agent, let's call him Mark, looks up from his screen slowly, his shoulders slumping just a fraction of an inch. He lets out a quiet sigh, a sound so soft it is lost in the low hum of the call floor. His mouse hovers over the accept call button for a beat too long. He finally clicks, but his movements are sluggish, almost reluctant. His face, illuminated by the cool blue light of the monitor, is a mask of fatigue. The work before him feels less like a task and more like a weight. This small, quiet moment of hesitation is a scene that plays out countless times a day in call centers around the world. It is the visible edge of a much larger, often misunderstood problem: work avoidance. This phenomenon is not about defiance or a deliberate refusal to perform. It is the agent who clears the easy tickets first, leaving the complex ones to fester in the queue. To solve the problem of work avoidance, we must first correctly diagnose it. Labeling an agent as lazy is an easy but inaccurate explanation. Laziness implies a choice to do nothing when one could easily do something. Work avoidance is a complex behavioral response to workplace conditions. Think of it as a form of self-preservation. When faced with tasks that feel overwhelming, confusing, unrewarding, the human brain naturally seeks a path of less resistance. This is not a moral failing. It's cognitive wiring designed to conserve energy. So when an agent postpones a difficult follow-up call, they're not choosing laziness. They're reacting to environmental triggers that make the task feel costlier than the delay. This behavior is rooted in three primary areas: internal state, clarity of objectives, and quality of tools. These three pillars support an agent's engagement. If one pillar is weak, the whole structure destabilizes and avoidance becomes predictable. One of the most significant and overlooked drivers of work avoidance is simple, profound exhaustion. The role of a call center agent is far more demanding than it appears. It is not merely about sitting and talking. It involves sustained concentration, emotional regulation, rapid context switching. Many agents work non-traditional hours, night shifts, rotating schedules, which disrupt natural sleep patterns and lead to chronic fatigue. This constant state of low energy directly impacts cognitive function. A tired brain is not a lazy brain. It is a brain that is struggling to focus attention, struggling to make decisions, struggling to regulate impulses. This energy deficit makes every task feel harder than it actually is. Think of willpower as a finite resource, like a muscle that gets tired with use. Throughout the day, agents use this muscle to stay patient with angry customers, to navigate complex procedures, and to maintain a positive tone. By the afternoon, that muscle is fatigued. When a complex case appears, the agent no longer has the mental strength to engage with it effectively. The idea of digging through multiple systems or composing a detailed email feels monumental. Procrastination becomes an involuntary coping mechanism. It is the brain's way of saying, I don't have the resources for this right now. Imagine you are given a map where two different paths are marked as the fastest route. Which one do you take? This is the daily reality for many call center agents. They are bombarded with competing priorities that create confusion and inaction. Management tells them to resolve issues on the first call, but also to keep their average handle time as low as possible. They are instructed to follow a strict, compliance-driven script, but also to build a personal, empathetic connection with the customer. They are pushed to upsell products, but also to ensure customer satisfaction scores remain high. These goals are often mutually exclusive. Agents enter a state of cognitive paralysis. The fear of choosing the wrong priority becomes a powerful deterrent to action. If an agent spends extra time to thoroughly resolve a complex issue, they improve the customer experience, but they risk being reprimanded for a high average handle time. If they rush the call to meet time targets, they risk a callback. Callbacks hurt first call resolution metrics. With no clear hierarchy, the safest course is to hedge bets. Agents do just enough to avoid trouble on any single metric. They don't excel at any. The job becomes a frustrating guessing game. Agents become mind readers, trying to guess what managers value that day. This uncertainty is emotionally taxing and erodes trust. It makes agents feel set up to fail. Motivation plummets. People stop trying to excel and try to survive. Work avoidance becomes a strategic retreat. Delaying tasks or handling them superficially avoids choosing between demands. The solution isn't more goals, it's clarity. Leadership must decide the single most important objective. Is the top priority to be fast, to be thorough, or to be a sales channel? One must be the North Star that guides decisions. When agents know, for example, that complete resolution is valued more than speed, they are empowered. They can confidently spend an extra 5 minutes on a call. Clarity removes guesswork, reduces anxiety, and frees agents to do good work. Yeah, it really changes everything. An agent's effectiveness is only as good as the tools they are given. In many call centers, agents are forced to battle outdated, slow, and non-intuitive software systems to do their jobs. Imagine trying to help a customer with a billing inquiry, but to do so, you must open 3 different applications. Copy and paste information between screens that frequently freeze, and wait 10 seconds for each new page to load. The task itself, answering a question, is straightforward. But the process of getting the answer is a marathon of clicks and frustrations. This built-in friction is a powerful, yet often invisible driver of work avoidance. When technology creates more problems than it solves, it fundamentally changes an agent's relationship with their work. Each task becomes associated with a feeling of frustration. The agent begins to dread not the customer's problem, but the battle with the system required to solve it. Agents will naturally gravitate toward the simplest tasks that require the least interaction with the broken parts of the system. They might handle quick password resets with enthusiasm, but put off complex account investigations that require navigating the slowest screens. This cherry-picking is not a sign of a bad attitude. It is a rational response to a poorly designed work environment. This behavior creates a dangerous snowball effect. The difficult tasks that are postponed do not disappear. They accumulate, forming a backlog that looms over the team. This growing work mountain becomes a source of collective anxiety. When an agent looks at the queue and sees a pile of complex, time-consuming tickets, the feeling of being overwhelmed is immense. The sheer size of the backlog makes starting feel impossible. The broken system creates the backlog, and the backlog, in turn, amplifies the urge to avoid the very work that created it. Managers who are disconnected from the daily workflow may not see this friction. They look at dashboards and see outputs, handle times, ticket counts, but they do not see the struggle. They do not experience the 30-second load time or the screen that crashes mid-call. Consequently, they might misattribute the backlog to a lack of effort from their team. To break this cycle, leaders must experience the system for themselves. They need to sit with agents and watch them work, not to police them, but to understand their pain points. Improving the system, even in small ways, can do more to reduce work avoidance than any motivational speech or incentive program ever could. So, yeah, start there. Sarah was one of the most reliable agents on her team. She worked in the billing department of a telecommunications company, a role that required patience, precision. One Tuesday afternoon, her queue was already stacking up. She took a call from an elderly gentleman. He was deeply confused by a complex series of charges on his bill. Sarah knew instantly this would not be a quick fix. She had to access his account history in one system, cross-reference promotion details in another, and check payment records in a third, a notoriously slow platform. Each step was a battle against lagging screens and confusing user interfaces. The call stretched past the 15-minute mark. That was well above her team's average handle time of 6 minutes. Sarah felt a knot of anxiety tighten in her stomach. Her team lead walked past, giving a pointed look at the call timer. Pressure mounted as colleagues cleared calls much faster. Rushing, she found the source of the billing error and explained it to the customer. He was relieved, but the work wasn't done. The case required a detailed internal note explaining the error and the credit issued. Her call queue flashed angry red numbers, long wait times. Panicked by the backlog, Sarah made a split-second decision. She scribbled a hasty one-line note, credit issued for billing error, and closed the ticket. For the rest of the day, she focused on easy calls, quick fixes to bring her average handle time down and make her stats look better. She felt a momentary sense of relief. 2 days later, the same customer called back. Collections had contacted him because the credit wasn't processed correctly. A newer agent, David, saw Sarah's vague note and had no idea how to help. David had to start the entire investigation from scratch. The second call took even longer than the first. The customer was now furious. The issue required a manager's intervention to resolve. Sarah's small choice had a ripple effect. It doubled the workload. It destroyed a customer's trust. It created stress for her teammate. When her manager discussed the incident, Sarah felt a deep sense of failure. For weeks, she avoided any call that seemed complex, terrified of getting stuck. Her story is a microcosm of how good agents are pushed into avoidance by systems that value speed over substance. It's, sadly common. The story of work avoidance does not have to end in frustration. The beauty of this problem is that because it is systemic, small changes to the system can yield surprisingly large results. You do not need a massive budget or a complete organizational overhaul. Instead, focus on making small, targeted experiments that reduce friction and increase clarity. Here are 3 simple, practical fixes that any team can try, starting this week. Low energy, unclear goals, broken systems. They are designed to create quick wins that build momentum for lasting change. First, introduce protected time for clear goals. For 1 hour each day, declare a single, unambiguous priority. For example, from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., the only goal is to write complete and thorough notes for every case, no matter how long it takes. During this hour, the average handle time metric is turned off or explicitly ignored. This simple act liberates agents from the paralysis of conflicting goals. It gives them permission to do one thing well. This builds a habit of quality work and provides a sense of accomplishment. Measure impact by tracking incomplete notes before and after. Second, strategically manage energy with micro breaks. Mandate 2 to 5 minute breaks every hour. Agents must step away from screens, encourage standing, stretching, or walking for water. This is an investment in cognitive endurance. These short resets prevent mental fatigue from accumulating and help maintain focus. Support this with low-cost, high-energy snacks. Track error rates or end-of-shift energy on the floor. Third, start a one-click-a-week challenge. Create a simple channel where agents nominate one small, frustrating process. Each week, leadership commits to fixing just one. Maybe it's a template to save typing or a minor software setting tweak. This chips away at friction and proves progress is possible.